For Dragonflight, the crafting system is being revamped. The hope with this is to bring crafting up in appeal and hopefully forge itself as the fourth pillar of play alongside PvP, raiding and Mythic+. But what is actually changing and how is it shaping up in this first early alpha build? Let's take ourselves a little look. Big thank you to all my Patreons. Your support goes a long way and it is greatly appreciated. Patrons have access to private Discord discussion channels, exclusive early previews of guides and information, and even access to my full TSM gold making setup. Find out more with the link in the description down below. Now before we get too deep into exactly what is changing, I kinda want to remind everybody that this is a very early alpha build. This should really be considered a working draft of what the crafting system might finally look like when Dragonflight launches. Now while I nor the feedback on this video can directly influence the direction of the game, your feedback and thoughts is incredibly valuable. It's at this stage in development where systems and designs can easily be changed or adjusted, so don't be too shy leaving your comments and thoughts in the comment section down below. So to begin with, there are three main changes to how crafting will function come Dragonflight. We have quality ratings, we have crafting stats and bonuses, and we have the specializations. I will start here today with a brief overview of all three in this video, and then we'll dive deeper into exactly how each one relates to specific crafting professions in more detailed videos to come. Quality ratings are being introduced on both materials required to craft things and the final finished products. Quality is not, though, to be confused with the rarity system that has been around in World of Warcraft from the start. Common, uncommon, rare, epic and legendary are still going to exist, but now your items can also have a quality rating from 1 to 3 in most cases, and 1 to 5 on crafted armor and weapons. This is going to be pretty easy to see in the icon for the item and also the tooltip. Your goal when crafting is going to be to slowly increase your skill to push your crafts to a higher and higher quality. Now this initially can be aided by seeking out those better quality materials for while you're still growing as a crafter. Now as your passive skill with the profession increases, you'll end up with having a much easier time crafting those higher quality crafts, and may even in some circumstances find yourself able to revert back to using cheaper, lesser quality materials while still being able to craft at top quality. This is going to be your end goal though, but that will require some significant time and effort to be put into each of the professions to achieve this result. The quality system is quite easy and straightforward to understand, but other than using better quality materials, what can we as crafters do to improve our skill in the professions? As we craft items, our overall profession skill will increase, providing us the opportunity to learn new and more difficult recipes and patterns. This is pretty much how it's always been, and for the most part it is staying unchanged. The only subtle change is that maxing your skill is not going to be quite as easy as it once was. Most professions still maintain that regular 100 skill point system, but come Dragonflight, only the first 50 or so skill points are going to be easily accessible via trainer patterns and early progression. Progressing much past this is going to require putting some good use to the patterns you've already learned and crafting some of those things you can already make, supplying your friends, your guild members or even other players with your crafted items. It is at this point you should probably be able to make most of your items at a reasonable quality, but if you want to excel in your trades, you're going to need to boost that quality rating and unlock more options. This is where specializations come in. You can choose your first specialization after gaining 25 skill points, and from there start acquiring profession knowledge and unlocking nodes on the spec trees. These nodes are going to improve your ability to both craft items related to that tree and ultimately make it much easier for you to craft at a higher quality. Most professions appear to have 3 to 4 specialization paths, which you'll need to carefully choose which one is best for you to start with. This though will only ultimately be a temporary decision, as additional specs can be unlocked as you work towards maximizing your primary profession skill, ultimately allowing you to have all of the specs unlocked by the time you are an absolute elite goblin at crafting. Once you've chosen your first specialization, your goal is to collect some of that profession knowledge. This currently in these early alpha builds is not fully implemented, and we still lack the information of exactly how much of it we're going to get, where we're going to get it from, or if it's going to be time gated in any fashion. The only single source that we've currently been able to come across was a weekly quest for some of the professions, but expect more information on this later on in the development cycle. Let's take a closer look at the specialization trees though, where we can see that they are often going to offer you direct crafting skill increases, bonuses to stats such as inspiration, resourcefulness and multicraft, more on those in a minute, but take note that once enough points have been spent on many of the nodes, this is where you will unlock further crafts and have access to optional crafting reagents to better increase your ability to craft at a higher quality or even to add additional perks onto the items. Anybody familiar with the crafting from Shadowlands will have often looked to use optional reagents such as things like crafter's marks to improve mostly the item level of the crafted item, and even since patch 9.2 where the progenitor enhancements would allow you to add on-equip bonuses to pieces of gear. This system is being built upon in Dragonflight, and although it's being called slightly different things, it functions in a very similar way. Let's take a look at those crafting stat bonuses in a little bit more detail and how they're going to affect your crafting. To do this though, we first need to understand what actually goes into deciding what quality an item is going to be crafted at. For this, we take a little look at the side panel for any given item. There's going to be a recipe difficulty and also your personal crafting skill. If you are able to match or better that recipe difficulty with your crafting skill, you will guarantee a top quality craft. If your skill does not quite meet the recipe difficulty, you can still make that item, but it will result in a lower tier quality. The breakpoints for each of the quality tiers are found by hovering over the bar towards the bottom of the panel. Playing around with the quality of materials, you can see that using better quality materials actually provide a bonus to your crafting skill, helping with the quality. Adding optional reagents might also improve your skill, or may even increase the difficulty of the recipe you're looking to craft. With each of these changes though, the bar will indicate what quality you are guaranteed to craft and how close you may be to that next quality. This though is the basics of crafting. But what is the inspiration, the resourcefulness and all this multi-craft business? Well, these are some of the new crafting stats for Dragonflight, and they're pretty much set to divide the men from the boys. Your inspiration is going to be your chance to be inspired whilst crafting, increasing your crafting skill for that one single craft. The more of this stat that you're able to acquire, the more frequently you'll gain that crafting boost and hopefully be able to proc into a higher quality tier of craft than you would normally be able to guarantee. Resourcefulness provides you with the chance to consume less materials when crafting, leaving you some spare materials to put towards your next craft. Now, through a little bit of testing, you are still going to need all of the base materials before crafting in the first place, but if this procs, at least you'll be left with some spare ones afterwards. Multicraft tends to work in a similar way, but instead of reducing the materials, it has the chance to proc an entire extra item. I can already see this being a super popular choice of stat for professions such as alchemy, which tends to craft items at large quantities to begin with. So we saw that these stats can mostly be gained via the crafting specialization trees, but that turns out that's not the only place. New to Dragonflight is also profession gear. We have 2 to 3 item slots which can be equipped with new crafting gear items. These currently have 2 tiers of rarity. We have the uncommon green ones and then the slightly higher quality rare blue ones. The uncommon greens are usually made by crafters or can occasionally be acquired as quest rewards. And then there are the blue rarer items, which appear to be much higher difficulty crafting patterns to where you may actually need to start seeking out a specialist crafter to be able to make one of these for you. Add all this together though, and you've got yourself the foundation for Dragonflight crafting. Regarding specifically leveling the professions, the best specializations to take, or how to go about selling your crafted items, I will leave all of that for some later videos, so if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and stay tuned. From here on out, I'll probably go by the assumption that this knowledge is now understood, and how it affects the crafting system in Dragonflight, but if there are any significant changes made, I will make sure to update this video in the future. You can pop over to our Discord and discuss any of the topics in this or previous videos, or even if you like, you can catch me live Monday through till Friday over on the live stream over at twitch.tv/Manthieus. One final big thank you to all my patrons for supporting the channel, and with that, boys and girls, I hope you have yourselves a great day. Peace.